So when it comes to stretching, there are a couple of foundational concepts you have to be able to grasp and fully understand in order to maximize the benefits of stretching. Now, there are different types of stretching. We're going to focus on what's called static stretching. This is typically the type of stretching you would do at the end of a workout. Okay, in order to maximize static stretching, muscles need to learn to relax. Muscles need to learn that going into this new range of motion is okay and that you're not going to injure yourself. So the idea of stretching is to relax into the stretch, not to force yourself into a stretch. Now, how you get the body to relax is focusing on the mind. If the mind relaxes, it actually tells that body part that you're trying to stretch that we're okay in this range of motion. Let's go a little further and understand stretching is a game of millimeters. It is not a game of inches. It is certainly not a game of feet or meters. We're trying to progressively increase your range of motion. So we do that with a focus on breath. If your mind is not kept busy while you're stretching, rest assured that voice is going to tell you, no, stop. You can't do this. This is too hard. Just ignore that voice. And the way you ignore that voice is keep the mind focused on what it should be focused on, and that's going to be breath. Now, let's go over breath very quickly. The way you want to breathe is you want to suck in as much air as you can, but not like you're gasping for air. Rather, how long and slow can you draw air inward? Then, how long can you actually pause before you have to breathe out? And then when you are ready to breathe out, how slow can you blow or exhale all the air out? Then when all the air is out, how long can you comfortably pause for before you have to breathe in again? It's a process. And when you get really good at this, you'll find that you'll start taking one breath per minute. Fully inhaling, pausing. Fully exhaling and pausing. You're going to try and do the following stretches, working your breath, and we're going to go for a total of 5 breaths per stretch. So let me exaggerate what the sound of the breathing is going to be. I'll take the mic off so you can actually hear this. Here's kind of what you're going for. Pausing. Pausing. So you get the idea? It's really quite slow. So if you try stretching too soon after a workout and you're not going to be able to relax. You cannot relax. That's not going to happen. So we're going to start off this series of stretching. Take a look here, and we're going to start with just your legs. So the first stretch in this series has you kneeling down with your foot up against the wall. Now, look at that knee placement, because the closer you put that knee to the wall, the more intense that stretch is going to get. So It's okay to place the knee further away from the wall if you're not there yet. Please understand, you always need to earn the right to do something harder, and that includes stretching. And remember, it's a game of millimeters. So find a place where you feel you can comfortably start. Now, if you look at how upright the torso is, the goal of this stretch is slowly, progressively. You're trying to get your hip, also known as your butt, and your shoulders to go up against the wall. Now, if and when that happens, you can then bring the knee back so you're closer to the wall. So let's take a look at these two stretches in this one position, and let's go through a series of 5 breaths while doing it. Notice through every exhale, I'm only moving millimeters. Not trying to push it too hard. And only moving on the exhale. For a total of 5 breaths. So as you can see from the first one, it's about pushing the butt and the shoulders into the wall, but progressively. Only increase that stretch on the exhale. Second one, the positioning is the same, except now we're driving forward. And again, torso nice and tall, but always breathing out on the movement of moving forward, right? So you're exhaling is where you increase the stretch. Do not try to move when you're pausing or when you're breathing in. Do not move. Only move out on the exhale. Let's take a look at the next stretch. Okay, so the next stretch is called a pancake stretch. Some people are flexible enough to do this sitting flat on the floor. If you don't feel that flexible, a yoga block would be good, or a low-lying box, ottoman, something to that effect. All right, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to sit with your legs relatively wide open. What you're going for here, quite simply, is, again, control your breath. So important. We're going for only 5 breaths. And what we're looking to do is reach forward. Now, if you're really tight, a good idea is to take something that's weighted and place that out in front of you so it gives you something to help anchor your body and pull you further into the stretch. So from here, relaxing your body, focusing your mind on breath because you need to keep your mind busy. If that voice pops up, you need to remind it to go away. And how you do that is just get your mind focused on breath. Focus on breath, very important. All right, so from here, we're gonna take a deep breath in. Our pause. And on our exhale only is when we increase. your mind focused on your breath, not just in and out, but also pauses. We're going to go for one more breath. Nice. So a series of 5 breaths. As you can see, it does take time, but keep your mind focused on it. If you get to a stage where you can't breathe in and out slowly, it simply means you've now gone so far out of your comfort zone that you can't control your breath. And this is why we say it's a game of millimeters. We want you to earn the progression to move forward, but don't go so out of your comfort zone that you can't even control breath anymore. That just means you've gone too far. So from that point of view, keep yourself in check and make sure that you've earned the right to move forward. Let's take a look at the next stretch. So on this stretch, we're now going to, we've already done 3 stretches for the lower body. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start focusing and working on the shoulder area, which, trust me, almost all of us need some work on it. So you're going to take a bench. Again, this could be an ottoman at home. It could be a couple of boxes, depending where you are, but approximately 16 inches in height. So one of the things that we want to do here is you want to make sure that your knees are actually behind your hip. So we certainly don't want you in front, and we actually don't even want you directly under it. We need your knees to be back because we're going to let gravity help us increase this stretch. All right, so your hands are going to be placed on the bench, but what I need you to notice is that it's not just the palm of your hands that are on the bench. Your wrists are going on the bench as well, because we're not going to be really using the hands all that much. So look at that, where you're going in deep enough, bring your knees behind your hip, and then from here we're just going to try to drop our head through our arms as we exhale. So we're going to go into a neutral position, and we're going to start our very controlled breathing. Our pause. And only increase your stretch on the exhale. This stretch is trying to get your head and chest moving to the floor. After your pause, breathe in. And slowly come out of your stretch. And remember, you're coming out of a range of motion whereby you were certainly beyond what you normally go into in terms of range of motion. So, is it going to feel tight, sore, stiff when you come out of it? Yeah. But it'll quickly regain composure and you'll be good to go. There's going to be one last stretch for your shoulders. Let's take a look at that one. So this last stretch, Not gonna lie, it's a bit of a doozy when it comes to the type of a stretch that really gets your shoulders going, but it's an awesome, awesome stretch. Now, I've mentioned several times along the way, you need to earn the right to increase your range of motion, and it's gonna be very true here. Now, what we're trying to do simply is this. You're gonna sit down with your knees bent, but also with your hands behind your back and as close together as you can keep your palms. Once you're there, your hands never move throughout this entire range of motion. What is going to move are my hips. So pay close attention to that. The first movement of my hip is going to be a little more dramatic in terms of covering distance than the rest of the next or the last 4 breaths. That first one just allows me to take a little bit more movement. So let's go back to controlled breath and work our range of motion. Breathing in, no movement. Pause, still no movement. Here I'm going to pick up my hip, and on the exhale, I'm going to move just my hip forward. The hands do not move. Right. Finish exhaling, taking my pause. Inhale. And advance my feet a little bit and try to move my hip forward again. I'm sure you noticed that wasn't nearly as much movement as on the first one. I've exhaled, I've paused, now I'm breathing in. No movement. Pausing, still no movement. Now I'm going to wiggle forward because I can't actually lift my hip anymore. I'm going to wiggle as far forward as I feel I can, and then exhale. Pause. I'm going to try and wiggle forward again. Focused on breath. After your pause, breathe in again. Going into my last one, I'm not expecting much in the way of movement here. Now, coming out of this stretch, rather than simply release, because I feel it's a little bit too strenuous to go from an intense stretch like this to just immediate release. So I recommend you do the following. Dig your fingernails into the floor and drag with resistance your hands slightly forward out of the stretch. I find this release is actually a lot less intense than if you just simply release from a stretched position. All right, there you have it. 5 stretches that I believe should be done at the end of every workout, but truly understand while you are stretching, what you're really focusing on is breath.